Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Monday, February 19th, 2024, President's Day. First we'll recap All-Star Weekend in the NBA, then we'll do NHL and college basketball, soccer, then golf, NASCAR, American Idol, news and notes, and best bet. We'll start the NBA All-Star Weekend. It was really fun to say the least. We'll start the All-Star Game. The East beats the West 211 to 186. All-Star MVP went to Damian Lillard, who pretty much owned the weekend. He won the three-point contest, and then he gets the MVP. Karl Anthony Towns had 50 for the West, so had the West won, he would have won the MVP. So it was a old school All-Star game. It was a blowout, unfortunately. And good on the East. I thought the East was going to win the game, but I went with the long shot MVP pick. And that didn't work out. Damian Lillard owned it. So the festivities. Celebrity game on Friday night. Team Shannon beats Team Stephen A. 100-91. Micah Parsons had 37 points and 16 boards. C.J. Stroud had 10 points for Stephen A's team. We'll talk about Stephen A. in news and notes. That's a story we have to get to. The Rising Stars Challenge. The semifinals team, Jalen beats Team Jamaica 40-35. So I guess it's the first to 41. And then Team Deadlift beat Team Pow 41-36. And then I guess it was the first of 25 in the finals is Team Jalen beats Team Deadlift 25-13. The Rising Stars game MVP. I believe it was Benedict Mathurin, but let's be honest, if that's true, then that's just the Pacer fans voting for the Pacer. But then again, Dame won MVP over Tyrese Halliburton yesterday. The Skills Challenge, Team Pacers got the win. Tyrese Halliburton, Benedict III, and Miles Turner. The three-point contest, Damian Lillard beats Trae Young and Karl Anthony Towns in the final round. So they each had 26 in the first round. Dame had 16 in the tiebreaker, so did Karl Anthony Towns. Trae Young had 15 in the tiebreaker. Tyrese Halliburton had 12. Not good enough. Lauri Markkanen had 25. Jalen Brunson had 24. Donovan Mitchell had 21. Malik Beasley had 20. And then in the final round, Dame had 26. Trae and Karl Anthony Towns had 24. Then we had Stephen versus Sabrina, which was new. And really fun and entertaining. But they went toe-to-toe, and Stephen Curry beat Sabrina Ionescu 29-26. So that was pretty cool to have Sabrina Ionescu a part of the festivities over the weekend. But the funny thing is that Curry used NBA-sized basketballs, but Sabrina used WNBA-sized basketballs. The slam dunk contest, first round scores, Jaime Jaquez 94.2, Jacob Toppin 95, Jaylen Brown 96.4, and Mac McClung 97.4. And the final round was Mac McClung against Jaylen Brown. Mac McClung wins 98.8, and Jaylen Brown got a 97.8 to win the slam dunk contest. So that was All-Star festivities. Now move on to the NHL. We will recap the games from yesterday and the rest of the weekend and look ahead to today's games, which is busy. All right, Friday, Hurricanes over the Coyotes 5-1. Saturday, Kings over the Bruins 5-4 in OT. Oilers over the Stars 4-3 in OT. So the two games on ABC before the MetLife outdoor game went to OT. Blackhawks over the Sens 3-2. Red Wings over the Flames 5-0. Panthers over the Lightning 9-2. Preds over the Blues 5-2. Sabres over the Wild 3-2 in OT. Leafs over the Ducks 9-2. Caps over the Habs 4-3. From MetLife Stadium, Devils over the Flyers 6-3. Jets over the Canucks 4-2. Hurricanes over the Golden Knights 3-1. And the Blue Jackets over the Sharks 4-3. And it's Sunday from MetLife Stadium. Rangers come back from 2 goals down in the third to win in overtime 6-5 on a overtime goal that was arguably controversial by Artemi Panarin. And the Islander player knocked off the net before the puck crossed the line, but they counted the goal. It was controversial, but the Rangers win. A game that they were outplayed in until the very end of the third period. Then they kind of caught up. Kings over the Penguins 2-1 and Avalanche over the Coyotes 4-3. All right, a lot of games today. 12:30 of the Ducks at the Sabres. Not a good game. You have the Sabres as a favorite, minus 184. The Ducks are plus 152 over under 6.5, minus 110 each way. Ducks plus 1.5 is minus 160. Sabres minus 1.5 is plus 132. I like the over. 1 o'clock, Stars Bruins from TD Garden. Great game. Bruins minus 128. The Stars plus 106 over under 5.5. Overs minus 132. Unders plus 108. Stars plus 1.5 is minus 30. Boston minus 1.5 is plus 188. I like Dallas plus 106 outright. On ESPN, Leafs Blues, so some holiday hockey. Leafs minus 160, Blues plus 132, over under 6.5. Overs minus 106, unders minus 114. Leafs minus 1.5 is plus 146, Blues plus 1.5 is minus 178. I like the over. 2 o'clock, Canucks Wild. Canucks minus 118, Wild minus 102, over under 6.5. Overs even money, unders minus 132. Wild minus 1.5 is plus 98. Wild plus 1.5 is minus 245. I like the Canucks on the road, minus 118. That's a short number. 3:30, ESPN, Red Wings Kraken. Kraken minus 137. The Red Wings are plus 114 over under 6.5. Overs minus 102. Unders are plus 102. Unders minus 124. Red Wings plus 1.5 is minus 215. Kraken minus 1.5 is plus 176. I'm going to go with the Red Wings outright plus 114. 4 o'clock, Jets Flames. Jets minus 126, Flames plus 105, over under 5.5, overs minus 114, unders minus 106. Jets minus 1.5 is plus 198, Flames plus 1.5 is minus 245. I like the under. Oilers Coyotes. Oilers minus 230, Coyotes plus 225, over under 6.5, overs minus 130, unders plus 106. Oilers minus 1.5 is minus 11, Coyotes plus 1.5 is minus 108. I like the Oilers minus the 1.5. Golden Knights Sharks. Vegas minus 275, Sharks plus 220, over under 5.5, overs minus 128, unders plus 104. Vegas minus 1.5 is minus 105, Sharks plus 1.5 is minus 114. I'm going to lay it with Vegas on the road. Blackhawks Canes at 7. Canes minus 430, Blackhawks plus 330, over under 5.5, overs minus 122, unders even money. Blackhawks plus 1.5 is plus 134, Canes minus 1.5 is minus 162. I'm going to go with the under at even money. Sens Bolts. Lightning minus 156. Sens plus 130, over under 6.5. Overs minus 152. Unders plus 124. Sens plus 1.5 is minus 176. Lightning minus 1.5 is plus 146. That's a tough one. But I'm going to go with the Lightning in regulation at minus 105. And that's it for hockey. College basketball from the weekend. We'll go over the results from the weekend, and we will look ahead to a small window tonight, but there's more games than usual for Monday because it's President's Day. Friday, Cornell over Harvard, 75-62. Villanova over Georgetown, 70-54. VC over St. Louis, 95-85. St. Peter's over Siena, 75-53. Rider over Mount St. Mary, 61-57. Iona over Manhattan, 73-63. Niagara over Fairfield, 65-63. Marist over Kenesha, 78-55. Columbia over Dartmouth, 73-63. Yale over Penn, 76-62. Princeton over Brown, 72-63. Queens over Jacksonville, 74-65. North Florida over Kennesaw State, 82-81. Toledo over Ohio, 85-83. San Diego State over New Mexico, 81-70. Saturday notable results. Number 10, Iowa State over Texas Tech, 82-74. Number 15, Alabama over Texas A&M, 175. Number 21, Virginia over Wake, 49-47. TCU over Kansas State, 75-72. Nebraska over Penn State, 68-49. Number 17, Creighton over Butler, 79-57. Richmond over George Washington, 90-74. Number 3, Houston over Texas, 82-61. Florida over Georgia, 88-82. Number 16, Dayton over Fordham, 78-70. Number 7, North Carolina over Virginia Tech, 96-81. Number 9, Duke over Florida State, 76-67. Oklahoma State over number 19, BYU, 93-83. So a big upset for Oklahoma State. Granted, they won't make the tournament, but it's always nice to get that. LaSalle over UMass, 82-81. Colgate over Bucknell, 62-50. Kent State over Northern Illinois, 85-47. Akron over Buffalo, 73-62. Mercer over Stanford, 88-84. Coastal Carolina over Marshall, 74-67. Iowa over number 20, Wisconsin, 88-86 in overtime. Duquesne over St. Joe's, 66-56. Number 1, UConn over number 4, Marquette, 81-53. Tulsa over Rice, 93-82 in OT. Vermont over Maine, 68-57. La Tech over FIU, 75-58. Western Kentucky over New Mexico State, 72-58. LSU number 11, South Carolina, 64-63. St. Bonaventure over Davidson, 81-80 in OT. Eastern Michigan over Bowling Green, 69-60. Miami of Ohio over Ball State, 80-59. Southern Miss over Texas State, 78-74. Number 6, Kansas over number 25, Oklahoma, 67-57. BC over Miami, 85-77. Cincinnati over UCF, 76-74. West Carolina over East Tennessee State, 70-65. UMass Lowell over Bryant, 86-77. Arkansas State over South Alabama, 76-73. App State over Louisiana, 85-73. Number 14, Illinois over Maryland, 85-80. Weber State over Eastern Washington, 90-84. Georgia Tech over Syracuse, 65-60. Troy over Yale Monroe, 85-57. Colorado State over Utah State, 75-55. Number 8, Tennessee over Vandy, 88-53. Number 12, Baylor over West Virginia, 94-81. Number 22, Kentucky over number 13, Auburn, 70-59. Wazoo over Stanford, 72-59. Cornell over Dartmouth, 89-80. Harvard over Columbia, 80-75. JMU over Georgia Southern, 87-80. Brown over Penn, 70-64. Middle Tennessee over UTEP, 96-90 in double OT. Pitt over Louisville, 86-59. Southern Illinois upsets number 23, Indiana State, 74-69. High Point over Radford, 99-74. Elon upsets UNC Wilmington, 73-72. Central Michigan over Western Michigan, 69-42. UNC Greensboro over Wofford, 58-47. Georgia State over Old Dominion, 68-65. Boise State over Fresno State, 90-66. Providence over DePaul, 81-70. NC State over Clemson, 78-77. Cal over Washington, 82-80. Michigan State over Michigan, 73-63. Princeton over Yale, 73-62. Grand Canyon over Cal Baptist, 79-76. Ole Miss over Missouri, 79-76. San Francisco over Loyola Marymount, 82-59. Gonzaga over Pacific, 102-76. Number 5, Arizona over Arizona State, 105-60. Colorado over USC, 92-89, double OT. Oregon over Oregon State, 60-58. Wyoming over San Jose State, 80-75. Santa Clara over San Diego, 82-69. Pepperdine over Portland, 91-70. And Nevada over UNLV, 69-66. Sunday, South Florida upsets number 24 FAU, 90-86. Charlotte over Wichita State, 72-61. Loyola Chicago over Rhode Island, 77-67. Ohio State over number 2 Purdue, 73-69. St. Peter's over Iona, 59-53. Temple over UTSA, 83-77. ECU over Tulane, 81-67. Northern Iowa over Bradley, 74-63. Drake over Murray State, 95-72. Belmont over UIC, 75-60. Rider over Manhattan, 104-62. Niagara over Quinnipiac, 86-6. Fairfield over Mount St. Mary's, 94-80. Canisius over Siena, 73-64. Furman over Chattanooga, 82-65. UAB over North Texas, 71-62. Illinois State over Evansville, 86-79. Northwest over Indiana, 76-72. SMU over Memphis, 109-74. or 106.79. Seton Hall over St. John's, 68-62. Minnesota over Rutgers, 81-70. And Utah over UCLA, 70-69. All right, today's games, 2 o'clock. We have Indiana Northwest, Chicago State at 2. We could skip. CBS Sports Network at 6, Colgate Lafayette. My line is Colgate by 6, total 133. And it is 9.5 and 132.5. I'm going to take Lafayette in the points. 7 o'clock on ESPN, number 21, Virginia at Virginia Tech. Mine's Virginia 5.4, total 134 and a 10th. And it is, why is Virginia Tech favored? Are you freaking kidding me? 126.5. Oh my God, that is absurd. I understand Vegas knows, but Virginia's better than Virginia Tech. Come on. I'm taking Virginia in the points at plus 132. Lamar, Southeast Louisiana, mine's SCL 4.8, total 145 and 19/20, and it's 1.5 and 143.5. I'm going to lay the 1.5. 7:30 SC State Howard. My line is Howard 7.2, total 150 and a 5th. And we have 6.5 and 148.5. Slide over. Morgan State, Delaware State. My line is Delaware State 4.3, total 144 and 7/10, and it is 5.5 and 144.5. Slightly in Morgan State. Pine Bluff, Bama A&M. That game's actually at 8:30, so we'll skip that for now. A&M Commerce, Incarnate Word. My line's Incarnate Word 1.4, total 146 and 11/20, and it's 1.5 and 141.5 over. Nichols, New Orleans. My line's Nichols by 3, total 150 and 9/10. And it's 1.5 and 149.5. Tough one. Slight lean Nichols. A rare CAA game on a Monday. William and Mary Charleston's 8 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. My line is Charleston 16.5, total 149 and 11/20. And it's 17.5 and 150.5. Slight lean William and Mary. Coppin State, Maryland Eastern Shore. My line's Maryland Eastern 6.7, total 132 and a 10th. And it's 6.5 and 125.5 over. Northwestern State, A&M Commerce. Or I'm sorry, A&M Corpus Christi. My line's Corpus Christi 8.8, total 142 and 3/5, and it's 10.5 and 140.5. That's a tough one, but I'm going to take the over. Southern Texas Southern at 8:30. My line is Southern 1.5, total 141. And it's Texas Southern 1.5, total 136.5. Is this Vegas knows? Probably, so I'm going to take the over. Miss Valley State, Bama State. My line is Bama State 15, total 136 and 9/20. And it's 15.5 and 129.5 over. Pine Bluff Alcorn, or Pine Bluff, Bama A&M. My line is Pine Bluff by 1, total 154 and 2/5. And it is 2.5 in favor of Bama A&M, total 156.5. So I'm going to take Pine Bluff plus the points and plus 125 outright. Florida A&M Alcorn. My line's Alcorn 11.8, total 146 and 3/10, and it's 10.5 and 138.5 over. Grambling and Prairie View. My line is Grambling 3.2, total 139 and 17/20. And it's Prairie View 1.5, total 137.5. I'm taking Grambling plus the points and even money outright. Bethune Jackson State. My line is Jackson State by 6, total 147 and 3/20. And it's 5.5 and 147.5. Ooh. That's very close. So I'm going to do slightly in Jackson State. All right, best game of the evening, 9 o'clock on ESPN, number 10, Iowa State, number 3, Houston. Top 2 in the Big 12. Mine's Houston 5.7 total 135 and the 20th, and it is 9.5 and 127.5. Over. ESPN 2, Kansas State, Texas. Mine's Texas 4.8 total 134 19 20th, and it's 8.5 and 140.5. Under. And last but not least, ESPN U, NC Central, Norfolk State. My line's Norfolk 5.7 total 137 to 19 20th, and it is 6.5 and 135.5. I'm going to go with the over in that one. Okay, now move on to soccer. We have a lot of soccer to do. We'll go over the results from the weekend. Look ahead to everything today. All right, La Liga. Friday, Villarreal Getafe 1-1 draw. Saturday, Atletico over Las Palmas 5-0. Osasuna over Cadiz 2-0. Barcelona over Celta Vigo 2-1. Valencia Sevilla 0-0 draw. And then yesterday, Real Madrid 1-1 draw. Granada Almeria 1-1 draw. Real Sociedad over Mallorca 2-1. Betis over Alaves. That's a 0-0 draw. Betis Alaves is 0-0. All right, today 3 o'clock you have Athletic and Girona. Athletic minus 125, Girona plus 290, the draw is plus 280. I'm going to go under 2.5 goals at plus 114. Premier League, Saturday, Liverpool over Brentford 4-1, Arsenal over Burnley 5-0, Aston Villa over Fulham 2-1, Newcastle Bournemouth 2-2 draw, Nottingham Forest over West Ham 2-0, Wolves over Tottenham 2-1, Man City Chelsea 1-1 draw. And then yesterday, Brighton over Sheffield United 5-0, and Man United over Luton 2-1. And then today, 3 o'clock, you have Everton and Crystal Palace. Everton minus 140, Crystal Palace is plus 420, the draw is plus 260. Over 2.5 goals at plus 108. Bundesliga. Friday, Bremen over Cologne 1-0. Saturday, Leverkusen over Heidenheim 2-1. Mainz over Augsburg 1-0. Stuttgart over Darmstadt 2-1. Union Berlin over Hoffenheim 1-0. Wolfsburg Dortmund 1-1 draw. RB Leipzig over Gladbach 2-0. And then yesterday, Freiburg Frankfurt 3-3 draw, and Bochum over Bayern 3-2. Serie A. Friday, Torino over Lecce 2-1. Inter Milan over Salernitana 4-0. Saturday, Napoli, Genoa, 1-1 draw. Verona, Juventus, 2-2 draw. Atalanta over Sassuolo, 3-0. And then yesterday, Bologna over Lazio, 2-1. Empoli, Fiorentina, 1-1 draw. Udinese, Cagliari, 1-1 draw. AS Roma over Frosinone, 3-0. And Monza over Milan, 4-2. French League 1. Friday, Lyon over Nice, 1-0. Saturday, Lille over Havre AC 3-0. PSG over Nantes 2-0. And then yesterday, Lorient over Strasbourg 3-1. Toulouse over Monaco 2-1. Montpellier over Metz 3-0. Rennes over Clermont-Foot 3-1. Reims Lens 1-1 draw. And Brest over Marseille 1-0. Dutch Eredivisie. Friday, PSV over Heracles 2-0. Saturday, AZ Alkmaar over Fortuna 2-1. Sparta over Excelsior 4-2. Go Ahead Eagles over Heerenveen 2-0. Amira City over PSV Zwolle 1-0. And then yesterday, FC Utrecht over FC Twente 1-0. Ajax NEC 2-2 draw. Vitesse FC Volendam 1-1 draw. And Feyenoord over RKC Waldwick 1-0. Women's Super League, Friday. Man City over Chelsea 1-0. Saturday, Arsenal over Man United 3-1. And Sunday, Liverpool over Brighton 1-0. Everton over West Ham 2-0. Aston Villa over Tottenham 2-1. And Leicester over Bristol City 5-2. Saudi Pro League, Friday. Al Shabab over Damak 1-0. Al Aqdoud over Al Ali 3-2. And Al Wada Al Tai 1-1 draw. Saturday, Al Faya over Al Hazim 3-1. Al Nasser over Al Fateh 2-1. And then Sunday, Al Halad over Al Raid 3-1. Al Ittihad over Al Riyadh 2-0. Liga MX. Friday, Querétaro Necaxa 1-1 draw. Mazatlan Guadalajara 2-2 draw. So best bet lost. Saturday, Athletic San Luis Tijuana 3-3 draw. Juarez Pueblo was postponed. Pachuca over America 2-1. Cruz Azul over Tigres 1-0. And then yesterday, Leon over Atlas 1-0. UNAM over Santos 3-0. And Monterrey Toluca 1-1 draw. ELC from the weekend. Friday, Southampton over West Brom 2-0. And then Saturday, Leeds over Plymouth 2-0. Birmingham over Sunderland 2-1. QPR over Bristol City 1-0. Hull over Huddersfield 2-1. Sheffield Wednesday over Millwall 2-0. Norwich City over Cardiff 4-1. Preston Blackburn 2-2 draw. Watford over Rotherham 1-0. Coventry over Stoke 1-0. Ipswich over Swansea 2-1. And then Scottish Premiership from the weekend. Saturday, Aberdeen, Hibernian 2-2 draw. Celtic, Kilmarnock 1-1 draw. Dundee over Ross County 2-0. Hearts over Motherwell 2-0. Livingston over St. Mirren 1-0. And then Sunday, Rangers over St. Johnstone 3-0. So that's it for the soccer. Now move on to golf. We have the results from the Genesis Open. Your winner with the score of 17 under, Hideki Matsuyama. Tied for second with 4 under, Luke List and Will Zalatoris. Tied for fourth with 13 under, Adam Hadwin, Patrick Kent, Lysander Schauffele. 7th with 12 under, Harry English. 8th with 11 under, Taylor Hogue. 9th with 9 under, Jason Day. Tied for 10th with 8 under, JT Potson, Adam Svensson, Eric Cole, Tommy Fleetwood, Sam Burns, Scotty Scheffler. Tied for 16th with 7 under, Byung Gunnan, Max Homa, and Cam Young. Tied for 19th with 6 under, Victor Hovland, Ludwig Aberg, Tony Finau, Colin Morikawa, Adam Scott. Tied for 24th with 5 under, B.U. Hostler, Ryan Henley, Corey Connors, Tommy Kim, Kristen Ziedenhout, Lucas Hodges, Rory McIlroy. Tied for 31st with 4 under, Taylor Moore, Mackenzie Hughes, Brendan Todd, Seamus Power. Tied for 35th with 3 under, Ricky Fowler, Lucas Glover. Tied for 37th with 2 under, City Thiglia, and Van Griffin. Tied for 39th at 1 under, Nicholas Hojar, Dylan McCarthy, Nate Taylor, Gary Woodland, Kurt Katayama. Tied for 44th at even, Sanjay M, Emiliano Grillo, Siwoo Kim, Brian Harmon, Adam Putnam. 49th with 2 over Cam Davis. 50th with 4 over Charlie Hoffman. 51st with 5 over Chase Johnson. And then the notables cut. Keegan Bradley, Matt Kuchar, J.J. Spawn, Seb Straka, Patrick Rogers, Wyndham Clark, Justin Thomas, Nicholas Dunlap, Sam Ryder, Alex Molly, Chris Kirk, Nick Hardy, Matt Fitzpatrick, Taylor Montgomery, Adam Schenk, Grayson Murray, CAU. Jordan Spieth was disqualified because he signed an incorrect scoreboard after the second round, and Tiger withdrew. The Mexico Championship is next. It's this upcoming weekend from Vedanta Vallarta. So we're going to get into that probably on the Thursday podcast and make a pick. Okay, NASCAR. Not much NASCAR to talk about because it was raining in Daytona this weekend, and 2 races will be had today. So the one race that did go off was Friday night, the truck race. Nick Sanchez was your winner. Coming in second, Rajah Carew. Third, Corey Heim. Fourth, Brett Holmes. Fifth, Spencer Boyd. Sixth, Stefan Parsons. Seventh, Matt Crafton. Eighth, Timmy Hill. Ninth, Brian Dawsat. 10th, Christian X. The rest, Tyler Ankrum, Jason White, Bailey Curry, Stuart Friesen, Ty Majeski, that was my pick. Tanner Gray, Grant Effinger, Jack Wood, Tanner Gray, Corey LaJoy, Daniel Dye, Corey Roper, Cody Rohrbog, Dean Thompson, Mason Massey, Matt Mills, Tony Breedinger, Chase Purdy, Johnny Sauter, Ben Rhodes, Keith McGee, Lawless Allen, Lane Riggs, Jake Garcia, Ty Dillon, and Thad Moffitt. All right, today at 11 o'clock is Xfinity. I'm going to go over the starting grid. Getting the pole is Jesse Love. Second, Austin Hill. Third, AJ Allmendinger. Fourth, Parker Kligerman. Fifth, Shane Van Gisbergen. Justin Allgaier, sixth. Jeremy Clements, seventh. John Hunter Nemechek, eighth. Parker Retzlaff, ninth. Anthony Alfredo, 10th. Riley Herbst, 11th. Sammy Smith, 11th. 12th, I'm sorry. Parker Emmerling, 13th. Sheldon Creed, 14th. Sam Meyer, 15th. And then Jeb Burton, Cole Custer, Daniel Suarez, Chandler Smith, Ryan Truex, Josh Williams, Brandon Jones, Garrett Smithley, Leyland Honeyman, Kyle Weatherman, Danny Dye, Josh Belicki, Haley Deegan, Jordan Anderson, Natalie Decker, Ryan Sieg, Sage Karam, Brennan Poole, Blaine Perkins, Dawson Cram, Ryan Ellis, Frankie Muniz, and BJ McLeod. And my pick, I gave out Justin Allgaier on the show. I think he was 11-1. And the Cup, the Daytona 500 today, 4 o'clock on Fox. Your pole sitter is Joey Logano. Second, Michael McDowell. Third, Tyler Riddick. Fourth, Chris Bell. Fifth, Chase Elliott. Sixth, Austin Cindric. Seventh, Alec Bowman. Eighth, Denny Hamlin. Ninth, Carson Hocevar. 10th, John Hunter Nemechek. The rest, Eric Jones, Harrison Burton, Daniel Suarez, Zane Smith, Ty Gibbs, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, William Byron, Chris Buescher, Chase Briscoe, Ross Chastain, Justin Haley, Jimmy Johnson, Bubba Wallace, Ryan Preece, Kaz Grala, Martin Truex Jr., AJ Allmendinger, Corey LaJoie, Josh Berry, Todd Gilliland, Ryan Blaney, Austin Dillon, Kyle Busch, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Riley Herbst, Daniel Hemrick, Noel Gragson, Anthony Alfredo, and David Reagan. So Riley Herbst making the jump to Cup. Good for him. And I gave out my pick on the Friday podcast. And I gave out Chase Elliott, and he was 14-1, and his odds are probably 10-1 now that he's starting in 5th. All right. American Idol. It was a really good episode last night for an opener. I don't think they showed as many auditions as they normally would in a 2-hour show. All right, so the show kicks off with the boy Mackenzie Soul, 23, of Vegas, originally from England. He performed Bring It On Home to Me by Sam Cooke, and his mom surprised him at the audition, which was awesome. He got 3 S's from the judges. Tristan Harper, 15, from McIntosh, Alabama, performs Cover Me Up by Jason Isbell. Tristan got 3 S's in the Hollywood. Then there's a girl named Kennedy Reed, works at a funeral home, performing River Deep Mountain High by Tina Turner. And then she also sang for fun Rose-Colored Glasses with Luke Bryan. But the irony is that Luke gave her a no, and then the other 2 gave her yeses. I wasn't a fan of Kennedy anyway. Maggie Iyer, 18, from Indiana, performed I Can't Make You Love Me by Bonnie Raitt. She got 3 yeses in. I thought she was one of the best performers of the episode. There's a girl named Sarah from Verona, Oregon, performing Over the Rainbow by Judy Garland. Katie gave her a yes, but the gentleman gave her no's. She wasn't good enough. There was a guy named Aji, 27, from Brooklyn, performed Lose Control by Teddy Swims. 3 S's in. This is an interesting story. Blake Prohl, 24 years old, used to play wide receiver on the Vikings. He tore a bunch of ligaments and such in his legs, and he had to retire early because of injury, and the doctors told him he'd be lucky if he ever were to run again. He's from Charlotte, North Carolina, and he performed In Case You Didn't Know by Brett Young. He got 3 S's into Hollywood. Michaela McCall, 28 years old, from Santa Barbara, performed Signed, Sealed, Delivered by Stevie Wonder. She got 3 S's in. Here's a funny name, Odell Bunton Jr., 28 years old, from Dallas, performing Bring It On Home to Me by Sam Cooke. So 2 people performing that song in the opener, 3 S's in, and Bunton was the winner of the platinum ticket, which I disagreed with. I understand it's 1 per episode, but 1 per location as well. But I thought the best performer of the episode, I had 2 nominees for this, but I don't think Odell was one of them. He might have been my number 4, honestly. Or 5. Then there's a young man named Jake Blocker, 25, from Dallas, but currently residing in Nashville, performing I Was Wrong, which was an original by him. The irony was that his only yes was from Luke, and Katie and Lionel said no. But the backstage crew thought he was robbed, as well as Ryan, and then Lionel switched him to a yes. So you don't see that very often. They said it was the first in history on Idol, which I probably would agree with that. I think it was too. I don't think I've ever seen that before. So he got in. McKenna Breinholt, 25 years old, from Arizona, performing There Was Jesus by Zach Williams and Dolly Parton. Very, very compelling story here. McKenna was adopted, and she talked about finding her birth mother, and it turns out her birth mother died, and then she wanted to find her birth family, and then she got in touch with the birth family, and she had plans to meet the birth family in a couple weeks after the audition, but her adopted family got in hold of the birth family, and the birth family surprised her at the audition. And it was very emotional. It was one of the more emotional Idol seasons I've seen in a while. And it's funny because we've seen so many military surprise homecomings and celebrity surprise appearances and other emotional stories over the past. But this was really heartwarming. And then after she performed There Was Jesus, she performed her late birth mother's song called Tumbleweed on the piano. And then that was really for fun. And then obviously she got 3 S's in. I thought McKenna Breinholt and Maggie Iyer were the 2 best performers of the episode. And then I felt that Blake Prohl was really good too. Mackenzie Soul I thought was pretty good as well. I don't know if Jack Blocker is going to go that long because he got a no from one of the judges. And usually when you get a no early on from one of the panelists, you're usually out early. And you're out before the top 24. So we'll see. And then Odell Bunton I thought was solid too, but I thought there were better performers than him. I thought that someone else. I honestly think McKenna should have been the platinum ticket holder, or Maggie. Those 2 are the best in my opinion. Okay, now move on to news and notes. Breaking news coming down the NBA. This might be we might need a guest for this. The Nets fired Jack Vaughn. That came out of nowhere. It's the All-Star break. We don't see coaches get fired All-Star weekend often. And we had it here. Should this have happened? The team really hasn't performed very well. this season. I understand. They weren't expected to be good. They have no draft picks. Is this shocking? No. I've heard speculation about this. And we'll see who will be their interim coach, and we'll see who will be the head coach next season. Maybe I'll try to get Jeff Burns on to talk about this maybe later in the week, because he's the Nets fan that comes on the podcast the most. So that's a big deal. Draymond Green was talking about the LeBron trade rumors during the All-Star alternate cast. The Bucks are bidding to host the All-Star game, as they want to host All-Star weekend in 27 or 28. We'll see about that. Kevin Durant praises LeBron in an exclusive sit-down, which was pretty cool. The Basketball Hall of Fame finalists, among them are Vince Carter and Chauncey Billups. And by the way, Vaughn, 64 and 65 in his Brooklyn tenure. But yeah, I can't find the Basketball Hall of Fame class. But that was awesome. That they announced that every year during All-Star. So Vince Carter, Chauncey Billups, Michael Cooper, and Walter Davis will be voted on for one possible induction. So the two big ones are obviously Vince Carter and Chauncey Billups. So we'll see if any of them get in. Top G League prospect Ron Holland will miss the rest of the season with the right thumb injury. That is not great for his draft stock. Jimmy Garoppolo suspended 2 games as he used prescribed medication without having valid therapeutic use exemption. That's not great for Garoppolo and the Raiders. And speaking of the Raiders, they're eyeing Jaden Daniels. So keep an eye on that, guys. We're just going to do rapid fire. MLS may have replacement refs as official CBA was rejected with season starting on Wednesday. So that's crazy. UFC 298, Ilya Topuria knocks out Alex Volkanovski in the second round of the main event. And how about this? UFC 300 will take place on April 13th. Alex Pereira will take on Jamal Hill for light heavyweight title. There are 2 teens charged in connection with the Chiefs parade shooting that killed 1 and injured 22. So there's obviously going to be more to this story, which isn't great, obviously. We talked about this heavily on the podcast on Thursday. Pac-12 and Commissioner George Kliavkoff to mutual part ways on February 29th. That's not surprising. With the league really dismantling. Charles Dreisel passes away at the age of 92. Rest in peace to him. 786 wins, 15th most in D1's men's basketball history. So we had the men's college basketball committee rankings released on Saturday. The number 1 overall was Purdue. I think it should have been UConn. UConn's a better team than Purdue. But a resume matters the most, as we know. So I'm just pulling up the rest. UConn was second. So the number 3 overall, Houston. Number 4 overall, Arizona. The number 2 seeds, North Carolina, Tennessee, Marquette, Kansas. Number 3 seeds, Alabama, Baylor, Iowa State, Duke. And the 4 seeds, Auburn, San Diego State, Illinois, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's fallen off. San Diego State's not ranked, but they have the resume. It's all about resumes, guys. I'm telling you. I mean, it's all about resumes and quad 1 wins and quad 2 wins and yada yada. And it's not what it used to be, but so that's interesting that they had that a month out of Selection Sunday. So Steve Sarkisian's $10 million contract details says he got 2 cars and a private plane. Wow. How about this? A college football playoff member denies the $7.8 billion deal as the memo sent to league administrator saying that the 6-year agreement with ESPN is incorrect. Wow. Brittany Griner got her number 42 raised to the rafters in Waco, which was awesome. Paige Beckers announces she'll return to UConn for a 5th season. Let's be honest, she's doing that because she knows she's not going to be the number 1 overall pick, and Clayton Clark is, and Caitlin Clark has surpassed her as the best women's college basketball player. Paige Beckers is still awesome, but we know why Paige Beckers is doing this. And if Paige Beckers didn't get hurt, that would have been a real rivalry between her and Caitlin Clark. Aja Wilson responds to her MVP snub, and getting 4th place vote motivated the title run. There was a lot of football players at the 2 games at MetLife over the weekend. Speaking of retiring numbers, Jaromir Jagr, 68, got retired by the Penguins yesterday. That was pretty cool. The Islanders to host the 2026 All-Star Game. So that's pretty cool. I remember the one year they had All-Star Weekend at the Barclays Center, but the game was at the Garden. I mean, the game should have been at the Garden. I mean, it would have been tragic if had the NBA All-Star Game. Granted, the Knicks were terrible that year, but the All-Star Game should have been at the Garden. And I think that the All-Star Game should be at the Garden for hockey, and then the festivities should be at UBS. I'm just biased because I think Madison Square Garden is the greatest arena in the world, but yeah, so the Islanders get All-Star Weekend, and I think that's interesting, but I also think that they should have like the skills competition, and the Garden shows the game just like the NBA did a couple years back. Lincoln Riley credits Michigan as he wants to be more like them and less dependent on transfer portal. Shohei Ohtani will not play in the Dodgers for a spring game because he's recovering from the elbow. Stephen A. Smith slipped on sweat during the Celebrity All-Star Game practice, and he hurt his ankle. Not great. Bayern is looking at Xabi Alonso if Tuchel exits, so that's some soccer managerial news. Some MLB free agency stuff. Red Sox signed Liam Hendricks 2 for $10. Decent signing for them. Arizona signs Randall Grichuk 1 year for $2 million. That's a nice cheap signing. And another good one is Whit Merrifield to Philadelphia, 1 year, $8 million. I like that one as well. And the Brewers to re-sign Brandon Woodruff to a 2-year deal. So that's a good re-signing for them. Hopefully he'll be decent. But I think he's hurt this year. And I think he won't be back till next year. The Raiders to cut Jimmy Garoppolo before he earns $11.2 million roster bonus in March. That's not surprising. Baker Mayfield's expected deal as he can get a contract to tick above 3 for $75. That's not bad, considering Daniel Jones got 4 for $160. Russell Wilson is selling his $25 million Denver home as he's accepting offers on his house with the Broncos' future unclear. One more baseball free agent signing. Giants bring back Pablo Sandoval on a minor league deal with spring invite. We'll see how that works out. The Bucks and Mike Evans are far apart on the deal as Mike Evans is trending towards free agency, barring unexpected change. And then the Steelers are not eyeing a veteran quarterback because they're doubling down on Kenny Pickett's development. So they're pretty much blaming Matt Canada and injuries. And non-sports news, Donald Trump has been fined $354.9 million and barred from doing business in New York for 3 years as part of his civil fraud case. Yikes. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. I really wasn't a fan of a lot of stuff for best bet, to be honest. But there's a couple ones in hockey, believe it or not, that I liked. So, I'm only going to lay a tenth of a unit. And I'm going to go with the total that I liked. And that total is the over in the Leafs-Blues game. So I'm going to go over 6.5 in Blues-Leafs. That game's going to be on ESPN, so we're going to be able to watch it. It's a good game, and I like the over. All right, so there you have it for the show, and I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything and looking ahead to everything tomorrow as well. And then we have a portfolio and maybe a mock bracket. We haven't done that all year. So if we don't do the mock bracket tomorrow, we'll do it on Wednesday. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.